think, again, this is the classic sign of alt season. I think somewhere here, once it breaks this, then we're going back up here. And that'll be the start of something much bigger, I think. And then we get the leg higher. That leg higher should be, all of June should be strong. All of July should be strong. August should be more complicated, which is what we've been saying, which should be phase two of the correction of the bananas.
We're standing at the brink of something major. Alt season signals are flashing, price action is tightening, and a breakout is within reach. If it happens, the rest of June and July could see explosive growth, before August brings the typical market shakeout. That's the latest outlook from Real Vision CEO Raoul Pal. Pal views this as a textbook setup for the next phase of what he calls the banana zone, a period where markets briefly pause to shake out the impatient before entering a full-blown risk-on rally. All the pieces are falling into place. Financial conditions are easing, liquidity is rising, and the dollar appears to be rolling over. These macro shifts, along with technical breakouts in ETH, SOL, and other altcoins, suggest altcoins are on the verge of outperforming. Pal believes this move will be fast and aggressive, rewarding those already positioned and leaving behind those waiting for confirmation. Stick around until the end of the video as Raoul Pal, joined by Real Vision CFA Julian Biddle, explains how this moment fits into the broader crypto roadmap, and why missing it could mean missing the biggest move of the year.
So, firstly, Bitcoin dominance. This was trying to get to the 9. It kind of would have been 9 that day. It was, I put out that tweet saying Bitcoin dominance has peaked, and it peaked. It went up, put in another 9, and I think it's going to continue to fall from here. So that's like the start of the alt season. But really, it won't fall until we start getting below this kind of 61.5 level, something like this, 62. If it does that, then the much bigger game is at play, I think.
Well, if that's right, we just retest it and push lower.
Solana, again, it's got this 13 like Bitcoin has. Looks like it's a wedge. There was that spike, but generally it was like this inverse head and shoulders. A bit of chopping around here. Next leg will be higher. When that is, whether we need to go a bit lower first. Sui was the kind of same to me. If I actually go to my normal Sui chart, I think this is some sort of flaggy pattern. This is obviously we have to ignore because that spike and down and back up again. But somewhere here is some sort of just corrective pattern like we've seen a million times in the past. Doesn't yet look like it wants to break higher. So I don't know what's chopping the market, but maybe it's just the M2 chart that we looked at before. You know, there's just a bit of chop to be had still, just as everyone starts getting really bullish because everybody's opening one of these new kind of MicroStrategy copies and everything else. So I think that ETH, I've not been using these charts a little for a bit, but ETH just continues to look good from every level. Where's my daily chart? That's the weekly. They're all fucked up because I've not been over here for a bit. Really.
There's that inverse head and shoulders.
Yeah, the inverse head and shoulders is a bit all my scaling screwed. It all looks good. I mean, it's just rejected here.
This is how you buy and sell crypto the easy way, using eToro, one of the world's leading trading platforms. If you're new to crypto, eToro makes it super simple. Let me show you how I bought Solana in just a few taps. First, head to the search bar and type in Solana. Tap on it, then hit trade. I'm going to invest $10, that's the minimum. Now just hit buy and done. I now own Solana. Selling is just as easy. Go to portfolio, tap your Solana asset, then click close and confirm your sale. Super simple. That's how quick and beginner-friendly eToro is. But here's why I use eToro. Earn up to 4.3% interest on non-invested funds, 0% commission on stocks, and you can set up an account in just minutes if you want to start your crypto journey. Use my link in the description to sign up to eToro today and start trading.
Maybe this all comes back down to 2,300 or so before then finally making the break. Doesn't feel wildly unlikely. And then because those are doing that, everything's doing the same. I mean, ETH Bitcoin, same. There's like an inverse head and shoulders here. Let's just move that. Somewhere here is like an inverse head and shoulders. I think, again, this is the classic sign of alt season. I think somewhere here, once it breaks this, then we're going back up here. And that'll be the start of something much bigger, I think, finally. And that's the classic sign of some sort of alt season. what else have I been looking at? So there's not really much to report right now. As you said, things are kind of in this corrective pattern. Doesn't look a long-term thing. It looks like it's kind of next week or something like that.
Yeah.
So we wait and see. On the other stuff, Tesla, just great. And it keeps doing this. This is like ETH, but it's actually broken through. Now, whether it fails to break through or not, I don't know. But again, it's just the Tesla chart just is so good. And the long-term one that we've used in the past, the log chart, is spectacular. So I still like those. Semis, that looks good as well. We just need to break a level and start trending higher from there. But semi, let's change it to the weekly. I don't see any reason why this just isn't this repeated.
Yeah.
It does a bit of fucking around at the highs again, and semis will have another leg higher. Can't see a world that that's not going to happen, considering what is going on in AI right now. The other one is 10-year yields. 10-year yields on the weekly have gone nowhere. So everyone's all fretting and screaming and shouting about yields and the world's going to end. Nothing has happened. But when I look at the daily, we've got a chance that yields are going to, we've got this 13 and this 9, but we had another 13 there. Whether we come back down, it feels like more like 2017 where yields actually don't go anywhere.
Yeah, that's what I have been saying. And I saw the 9 as well on DMARC, and I feels like they'll come lower.
Yeah, that's possible. And the dollar, it tried to push higher yesterday, tried to push higher today, and it's just come smashing back down again. But the 9 and 13 count is something to take very seriously.
Yeah,
and again,
that's what I said.
It doesn't really. It's going to give us a signal for what happens at the back end of the year. But if we go back to that chart you were showing of 2017, it's kind of suggesting that, these corrective patterns eventually fall away. The market digests this huge move that we had. It's a monstrous move. And then we go to another leg lower where we think it probably goes to somewhere between 95 and 90. So again, there's nothing I see is particularly, well, certainly nothing in equity land is bearish. But we're getting at levels of all-time highs where you get a bit of congestion. That will make sense. Nothing in crypto concerns me in any way, shape, or form. It's just chopping around here. Feels like we're just going to be weaker for a bit, digesting various bits of news before we have the next.
According to Raoul Pal, this recent stretch of sideways price action is simply the market catching its breath after a massive rally. Bitcoin has climbed 46% from its lows, Ethereum is up over 90%, and liquidity conditions continue to improve. The dollar appears to have peaked, yields are rolling over, and financial conditions are easing, creating a strong macro backdrop. Pal sees this as the textbook setup for Phase 3 of what he calls the banana zone, the final and most explosive leg of the crypto cycle. In his view, nothing in the current data signals concern. If anything, he believes this period of consolidation is the calm before a much larger move.
Also, just to put things into perspective, since our flash update on the 7th of April, the S&P 500's up 22%, the Nasdaq's up 29%, Bitcoin's up, as I had said earlier, 46%, Solana's up 84%, ETH is up 93%, and SUI's up 116%. And now the market's overbought. That's all that's happening here. And the thing that I pointed out yesterday is that, when you think about like pure quant hedge funds, or whether they're momentum based or however you want to think about that, some of these funds go straight to net short on an overbought reading, right? So this is just profit taking. It's all it is. So the market's digesting the news. We're overbought. Certain people are, taking profit with the hope of buying a bit lower, whatever that is. So that's just why I think we're kind of chopping and people are waiting around for something to happen. But we're digesting a big move in markets.
And, it's really interesting to see how strong the ETH narrative comes back. And I've been saying it for a while, is like, people can write off ETH, they're ridiculous. ETH has enormous amounts going for it. And now we've seen this new MicroStrategies version by Joe Lubin of buying ETH. I also think the financial system uses ETH a lot more. And I think ETH outperforms Bitcoin all the rest of the cycle now. And that's not uncommon. So
if we're right about the ISM, then that's how it should play out.
That's right. And Solana should over time outperform ETH, but ETH's got catch up to do. So it's all correct. It will be corrective on that cross, but eventually Solana should outperform it and Sui should outperform Solana. I don't see any reason why any of that. In fact, I haven't looked at the Sui, Sol chart a bit. Let me just share this. So this is the daily Sui Sol. This 13, I don't think actually is correct because it's below everything. Doesn't seem to make sense. So it looks like it's a corrective flag pattern. And then we should see the next push higher. So let's see if it looks any different more weekly. No, I think this should be a corrective flag pattern. And then when we break higher, it'll be some sort of cup and handle or whatever. And that'll push us to the next level, back up to maybe the highs. So I think everything looks as expected. I think it's going to be boring for a few days. But let's see. Anything else you're thinking about?
No, not really. As I said, I did my kind of brain dump yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck we're going to write for GMI, but
I mean, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we got a call on that later.
No,
but yeah, I think that's it, guys. There's not much more to talk about. It's kind of everything's on track. Just a bit of overbought digestion. I think we should get that in equities at some point as well, because they've had this monstrous movement back to all-time highs there and thereabouts. You probably get a bit of congestion, a bit of profit taking, and then we get the leg higher. That leg higher should be, all of June should be strong. All of July should be strong. August should be more complicated, which is what we've been saying, which should be phase two of the correction of the banana zone.
The other thing that's just before we go is the only other thing I wanted to say, which I think you and I were talking about before you were in Texas, was the fact that of how underweight institutions are on equities, right? That chart from the Bank of America Fund Manager Survey. So they're the most underweight since May of 2023, as I had pointed out yesterday. Speculators are still net short the S&P 500. And what I had said is, you and I both run money. And when you're underperforming, although you were at a hedge fund, I had a benchmark, but when you're underperforming your benchmark and you missed this rip higher, there's going to be serious FOMO once equities make new all-time highs to get into the market. So that's why I think there's a limit to how much further the market can fall on that basis. But that's just, I just feel like these dips will, whatever they are, be bought because there's still a huge amount of people that are short and not in the market.
Yeah, I think the other thing to bear in mind is that if there is a dip near all-time highs and the economic data is improving, that dip will be bought because it has to be by the institutions and the hedge funds. So that again sets us up into a very strong back end of the year.
Yeah,
just because of the positioning and how badly they've underperformed.
Here's Raoul Pal with his latest forecast. He views the current market chop as simple overbought digestion. Institutions are still significantly underweight, quant funds remain net short, and the Ethereum narrative is gaining serious momentum. Pal expects ETH to lead the next phase of the cycle, with Solana and Sway close behind. June and July appear strong, setting the stage for a typical phase 2 correction in August, what Pal calls part of the banana zone. With institutional participation still lagging and liquidity continuing to rise, any dip near all-time highs is likely to be met with aggressive buying. Pal believes this sets up a powerful second half of the year. Do you agree with his outlook? Share your thoughts in the comments. Before we continue with the rest of the video, do check out daily 5-minute crypto newsletter with all the latest crypto and Bitcoin news. It's a fantastic analysis of on-chain crypto data and breakdowns, and the best part is it's absolutely free. They'll cover expert predictions, breakdowns of on-chain crypto data, and any breaking news you need to know, all in a nutshell. Click the first link in the description and enter your email to join over 50,000 others in becoming a better crypto investor right now. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.